to me, the quarterback carousel has already begun. Derek Carr, and I know we're going to wait to hear about Aaron Rodgers. But to me, the number one story, because it's going to last all the way to the last week of April, is what's going on with the Chicago Bears and what's going on with anybody who wants to move up to the first overall selection for Bryce Young. I'm telling you, I'm not stirring it up for clicks or anything else. We had Justin Fields on our program last week. Multiple radio, television shows have asked for permission to play the sound bites because I looked Justin Fields square in the face and I'm like, are you ready to have questions surrounding you being the quarterback of the Chicago Bears moving forward? Are you ready for that? Because it's coming. It is coming, and it's already started. And it's not because I'm talking about it. It's already started, not just because it's being talked about elsewhere. Not just because, as I've told you, because Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud are going to be neck and neck, I believe, for the first quarterback selected in this year's draft. It's going to come down to who do you like more? Who do you feel is more accomplished? Who's more ready? Who's more sturdy? Who can withstand all of that stuff? And the team that holds the number one overall pick in the draft already has a quarterback who they traded up for in the draft, have stuck out there for 2 years with two different coaches, and had him get beat up, and despite all that, have seen flashes of outstanding play, and also the two-way threat that you need in this league. The two-way threat you need in this league to be a difference maker in this league at quarterback. You have seen that from Justin Fields. My God, have you seen that from Justin Fields? He might be the second quarterback taken in your fantasy draft next year after Jalen Hurts. Think about it. So I told that, despite that, to Justin Fields, because at some point the Bears are going to have to bring these guys in to make it seem like they're going to take him. And why am I saying that? Because everybody thinks the Bears are just going to go for a defensive player. They're just going to go for a defensive player, and the Texans are going to take one of the two quarterbacks. And so you're sitting there thinking, okay, so someone's going to have to go to the Bears to get one of those two quarterbacks, right? Well, Todd McShay's already thought about it, because this is the way that this gets discussed, even before the combine and before and after the combine and before the Bears bring in these quarterbacks, because they do have to make it seem like they're going to take them. Because otherwise, why is anybody going to go trade up to go there if you think, okay, all I got to do is trade to say it, put up a Todd McShay mock draft, go to number 3. Cardinals don't need, right, a quarterback long term. They got Kyler Murray. I'll just trade with them, and I'll get Young or Stroud because I don't care. Bears might want to flip that pick. And Todd McShay thinks that they're going to do it with the Colts. Bryce Young will be drafted by the Colts, moving up from 4 to 1, and then the Bears move from 1 to 4, probably get the Colts' first-round selection in next year's draft and maybe a 2 and whatever else, and they still get Jalen Carter from Georgia. What a coup that would be for the Bears, and the way to do it is to make it seem like they're going to take Bryce Young. I'm telling you. That's the way to make sure it happens. Because if they do that, they can get more from the Colts. Why wouldn't the Colts just think, okay, they're taking a quarterback at 1. I mean, they're taking a defensive player at 1. Sure, we might lose Bryce Young at 2 to the Texans, but we love Stroud just as much. Let's go to 3 and let's go get him before anybody else comes up and get him. If people are going to continuously trade up, the Bears are going to be like, why don't you trade up with us?
Yep.
That's where you get the guy you definitely want. Trade up with us. And in order for the Bears to do that, they got to make it seem like they're taking him. And by the way, the fact that Shane Steichen has been hired by the Colts. I mean, Bryce Young, is that the guy or what? Alabama quarterback who can do it both? Did Steichen just take one of those guys to the Super Bowl? Yep. So, Indianapolis, let's get the guy who is behind Jalen Hurts becoming the guy. Let's get him, and let's get him an Alabama quarterback who can throw it and run it. Let's do it. What do you think? Does that work? In order to make sure that happens, they got to go to the Bears. Otherwise, the Texans might take their guy. Or the Bears could too. We're not going to get him if sitting there at 4. We might get neither of them at 4. We got to go to 1 to get one. Because the Bears might take him. Bears can't just come out and say, we're taking a defensive player. Everybody else move on. We love Will Anderson. We love Jalen Carter. That's it. When they can still get the guy and your first-round pick next year. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields is going to have to sit there and know that the Bears will, by implication, make it sound like they're not sold on him. Because they're bringing in Young and Stroud. They'll bring in Levis, too. What the hell? Why not? We fall in love with him. At some point, everybody gets pushed up to the top of the draft because of need and also because you hear, wow, he lit it up at his pro day. He lit it up here. He lit it up there. Oh, he lit up the whiteboard in the interview room. He was so great. Everybody raves about that guy. We got to go get him. Who can tell you? Guaranteed you get him. The Bears. Thank you, Lovie Smith, for that. This goes all the way to draft week, and it starts now. I get it. Rodgers is Rodgers, first ballot Hall of Famer. Could he move on from Green Bay? Could he go to New York? That's a huge story. Huge. That's wrapped by mid-March. What about Derek Carr? Lamar Jackson's free. Oh, my God. Another former MVP. He's free? What's going on there? He leaves. He goes to New York. He winds up in, say, Tampa. He winds up somewhere else. Huge story. That's wrapped by March. This one goes to damn near May. And it's going to be nonstop. Could we find out at some point the Bears do fall in love with a defensive player and they feel that they're damaging the relationship with Justin Fields so much that they're going to have to tamp it down and just say, screw it? Yeah. Or do they want the Colts pick? Do they want the Texans pick? Texans get nervous that they could possibly take their guy. They have to make it seem like they're going to pull the trigger on a quarterback. It's coming. I'm telling you. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.